think it is working. All right, great. This is the first live that I actually record in a proper orientation, so yay for me. I want to make them into something more regular. I'm thinking every week, a hangout, Q&A, you know, sharing our experience with manifestation and stuff like that. Let me just quickly see if... Yep, okay, it's working, good. Right, so because I focus mostly on only manifestation on this channel, but everything that we do is not only up for manifestation, it's also for any sort of changes, resolutions, you know, whatever you're doing that you want to, like, you want to improve your life, you want to feel better. Everything we do is to feel better. And lately I've been reading this book. I wanted to like talk a bit about this book. This is Abraham Hicks, Ask and It Is Given, and it has here this like three-step manifestation, like the creative process. That in concept it's only really 3 steps. I want to talk about this a little bit and what it means, because, well, manifestation is so simple in its concept, and yet it's just grown into this really complex a kind of science. There are so many techniques, like there is a new one every week. So in these lives here I would like to just, you know, help you feel better. So I'm an emotional regulation coach, emotional mastery coach in manifestation, and I do this in manifestation because I've been there too. When I found out about manifestation, I was in a really kind of anxious place. I wanted things to fulfill me, and I saw manifestation as the means to an end. But I didn't really see how I am just approaching this backwards, and I understood that the manifestation community really does have it backwards. And that's why on my channel I don't really talk about, you know, the newest techniques and so on, but I try to help you understand that it is all about you feeling good, about you feeling secure within yourself, because you cannot manifest from this place of you know, survival mode. All I want for everybody is to feel good, is because when I started learning about manifestation, I actually started to feel worse about myself, my life. I started to feel much more anxiety. There was of course doubt, there were limiting beliefs coming to the surface, there were vulnerabilities, there was a lot of emotional energy coming up. I didn't know how to navigate, and that's the thing with the manifestation community that will lure you in as a way to, hey, here's this magical thing that will fix your life, that will give you everything you want. And it absolutely can. It changes your life once you understand the dynamics, but you have to understand why it is set up this way. It's because, you know, you are not only this human person. This human person doesn't manifest, not really, but the real you, the source, the divine consciousness is manifesting through you. And all we do with these manifestation teachings is that we place the power onto the external to make us happy, and then we say, oh, I have to actually change myself to manifest things. So we again place our attention on something that is a bit closer to what actually should get all our attention, but it's still not it. But everything happens for a reason. Everything has its path towards this self-realization, because that's what it comes up to eventually. It's you, your soul, leading you towards the real self, towards the connection with yourself. And why do I focus on nervous system so much, on emotional regulation? It's because the goal is to feel good. We want to feel good, and that's why we want these things. And we think that these things will make us feel a certain way. Maybe they will, maybe we will want something new after. But what is truly important here for me specifically, and from what I see, that other people that find these teachings, is that in the end these things cannot make you feel anything. They only do because we assign them a meaning. And you are love, you are happiness, you are bliss, you are the source of all the good things that have happened to you, and you are also the source of all the bad things that happen to you. But that only means that you are always in power, and that you can start feeling good here and now. So I'm going to have some tea because I brewed myself some rooibos tea here, and we're going to jump into that Abraham Hicks passage, because I wanted to share in here. I'm not even sure if it's going to be visible, like with the 3 steps that it has in here. Oh, and I lost it. No, come back. Go back. So I was reading this book some time ago, and it really didn't land with me at all. I went to like 1/3 of the book, and I was just like, I found myself looking for answers in this book on how to manifest, and this didn't land with me at all. But then I abandoned it for a long time. But lately I bought some more books on different topics, and before I get them, I decided to finish all the books that I never read. So I picked up this book, and it's landing completely different for me now that I don't really try to manifest things. All I try to do is to understand and get closer to the truth or whatever, or even to be able to like understand, more of the human emotions and what actually drives us and so on. So this book is actually good for that if you want to learn more about yourself as the source energy having this physical experience. I wouldn't look at it as a way to manifest things though, but that's the truth with any book, any resource out there, because if you're approaching something with the idea that, oh, this will fix the way for me to, I will be able to finally manifest and be happy because of that, great. But when you approach something with just so much emotional load and attachment from the get-go, it's just asking for trouble. So maybe this is why this book lands with me a bit better right now, because I'm not even trying to like use it as a manifestation, like guidance or the way to learn. But it is a very good book on how to feel better, how to boost your mood, because it's also in this book they have this, how do they call this? I think it was something like your emotional set point, or like emotional guidance scale. Emotional guidance scale, I don't know if you see this in here. It is a list of emotions. From the top it starts with joy, and then it ends up on fear, grief, depression. So it's like a scale of the feelings that you can have, and it's very useful if you don't typically know what you're feeling. You can use this as, we don't really know what we feel most of the time, but to be honest, with all these, you only get, they say in here in this book that you only feel good or you feel bad. No, there's a good feeling and there's bad feeling. I don't know if they call it the bad feeling, but it's love or fear, right? We know this. We know that there are only 2 emotions in this world. There is only love and fear, and if it's not loving or like passion, joy, bliss, peace, acceptance, all these things, then it's probably fear-based. So like starting from the bottom, we have fear, grief, depression, despair, powerlessness. That's like in one container. Then we have insecurity, guilt, unworthiness. Then we have jealousy, then hatred and rage. Then we have revenge. Then we have anger. Then we have discouragement, blame, worry, doubt, disappointment, overwhelmment, and then frustration, irritation, and impatience, also in one. Pessimism, then is boredom, contentment, hopefulness, optimism. Then we have positive expectation slash belief. And then we have enthusiasm, eagerness, happiness. And on the second position is passion. And on the first one is joy, knowledge, empowerment, freedom, love, appreciation. So this is the scale, and the idea is that the lower you are on this scale, the lower the vibration is that you are offering to the universe. And the idea of in the moment I'll get to the 3 points, but let me just find, because I wrote it down somewhere. Maybe it will be easier to like show these 3 steps. So this is from the live I did on TikTok. So I've got this manifestation formula, okay? So there are only 3 steps, right? Very simple steps. So we know that manifestation is so simple in its concept, but let's just have a recap, okay? And different teachers say different things, but they all mean the same thing, really. So a first step is up to you. This is something that you do. This is your job, is that you are asking. And it's not that you're saying to the universe, I want this and this, because the desire that you have is already you asking. It's not even voluntary. I will argue every time that what we want, and it's not even, I don't have a choice over this. This is not my choice. I didn't choose this. It chose me. Right? So this is your job. All you do is to accept when you want something, basically. The second step is not your job. You don't do that at all. And the step is that it is given. So they say in this book that every single thing you want ever, it's always given. It's always there. And Neville Goddard also talks about this in a way, because he calls it that creation is finished, right? He says that everything exists at the same time. And you know, there are so many these teachers, and they all say the same thing. Everything exists at the same time, right? So this is basically what it is, that it is always given. It's already here. You heard that before, you saw it on YouTube, you saw it on Reddit. And then the third step is again your job. And that one is that you align vibrationally. That's what they say in this book. And you know, the law of attraction talks about this a lot. I'm not a huge fan of the law of attraction per se, but I never went that deep into that, because to me it is just like, oh, think positive, you know, flip your thoughts, feel good. Yeah, but how you get there? How does this happen? And you align vibrationally. That's what Neville Goddard tells you, to go into your imagination, because everything is already there, to make this feel familiar, right? He also talks about this. So everybody talks about the same thing, they just describe it differently, okay? So you ask, you have a desire, you accept the desire, it is always given, creation is finished, and that's not your job. And the third one here is that you align vibrationally / you make it feel normal, neutral, familiar in your imagination, or by affirming that it's already yours, or in the case of Abraham Hicks, they tell you to find the feeling place. And you will hear a lot from people that you just have to simply pretend that you are already the person who has it. Be the person who already has it. And it's like, you know, fake it till you make it kind of situation. And what do I think about this? I think it's a very simple advice, but it doesn't work because people misunderstand it all the time. And to be honest, when I started the manifestation, I didn't understand it. Like, you know, that there is this what is that, Dunning-Kruger, I think it's called. There is this curve that goes like this, that like when you're a beginner, you think about like, oh, you know, you just have to align vibrationally with your manifestation, and you get it. Then as you grow in your expertise, you're like, no, this is not that simple, this is not how it works. And then the more you learn, you kind of land again at, yeah, you just have to align with it vibrationally. So it's like you come back to the start, but you kind of, there's more nuance to it. And I feel like this real meaning, it gets lost on the way, because everybody just, people have very short attention span, and when they don't see the results while living in survival mode, of course it's going to feel really bad, and you start doubting yourself. And this is why I talk about nervous system expansion. I also have a course, it's called Nervous System Expansion for Manifesting. If you're interested, it's in my profile, where you learn how to feel things, because nobody teaches us that. And the idea I'm talking about is that you have to expand your nervous system to be able to receive more, because there are so many things that, you know, still linger in your body from your childhood, from when you were a very little human and you didn't know how to deal with your emotions then, so they kind of got stuck in your body, and you developed some mechanisms so that you can move on with that life. They helped you survive, but then it turns out that you don't need them anymore in your adult life, but they are still here with you, still lingering, and kind of preventing you from being your best self. So let's read to, where's the chapter 10? Right, so we've got these 3 steps there, right? So I'm going to read what they have to say about each step as well, because I think it's very interesting. It gives you a bit more like context and more understanding. So step 1 is that you ask, because of the wonderful and diverse environment in which you are focused, step 1 comes easily and automatically, for this is how your natural preferences are born, right? You have no choice, it just appears. Everything from your subtle or even unconscious desires to clear, precise, vivid ones result from the contrasting experiences of your day-to-day life. And everyone is different, and everyone will want different things, and there is always enough for everybody. So we don't have to worry that, you know, there's not enough for everyone. So desires or asking are the natural byproduct of your exposure to this environment of fantastic variety and contrast. And so step 1 comes naturally. Something very interesting also in this book, they were talking about how you are the source energy, right? You are God. I mean, not you, the human self, but the quiet presence within you, the awareness. Or like divine consciousness, people call it as well, the universe, right? So the fact that you have desires is a way for this source energy to express itself and motivate you to go and seek joy. So this is really a gift, but very often the desire, it feels just so negative, right? You want something. I've been there too many times when I really wanted something. I didn't quite know how to like set myself free from that. I would feel like when I would think about that desire, I wouldn't feel like, oh, you know, this is so nice, I love it. And I would be thinking, my goodness, like I'm not even close to this yet. It was a source of not really this positive excitement, this anticipation and just joy, but just something like a reminder that I don't have it yet. So that's because we live in a dual world, right? There is always dark and there is light. There is male and there is female. There is good and there is evil, and you know, everything has every coin has like 2 sides, right? So your desire also, on one side you can focus on the opportunity, what is there, and on the other hand there will be also the lack of this. So there is like one coin, 2 sides of that. And very often when we think about something that we really want, we think that we are manifesting it, and it turns out that we are actually focused on the lack. And that is mostly because there is a certain idea that we have about, you know, that we will be happy when we have that thing. We see it as a source of fulfillment. But very often what happens is that it's just a reminder for us that it's not here yet, and it doesn't feel good when we start from this set point of just survival mode. Like we want this thing to feel secure and happy and so on. So in this book, they say a lot about the emotions, like when you want certain thing, like for example, let's say that you want money. If you want money, but you don't have money, or you're focusing on this sense of insecurity, you have to get yourself to the feeling place of feeling secure. And don't jump immediately to the thing like, oh, I have a lot of money, because it's not going to work. It's just too much of a jump for you to feel secure with that. It's not going to give you a good feeling. So what you do instead is you build a bridge between your current state of lack or insecurity to what you want to achieve, which is the security of and freedom of being financially stable, right? So on the way, you find certain statements that you can tell yourself that will make you feel certain way, that feel true to you, because the one I am rich doesn't feel true to you, and it's not going to give you the sense of the fulfillment that you want to feel, because you want to give yourself that feeling and just soothe yourself. So instead of saying I am rich, you start with something like I have enough money for groceries, right? This is a true statement, and it's not going to feel to your nervous system like it's not true. And then you can say something like I am lucky that I can go on vacation every year, right? That's a true statement, maybe as well for you. And then you just keep on searching the ones that are closer and closer to the thing that you actually want, which is, in this case, money. And you don't want to like lie to yourself, but you want to get closer and feeling neutral about the statement that you're talking about, to normalize the feeling of that end goal in a way. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's nicely written in this book if anyone would be interested. But again, don't read this book if you want to manifest something because this attachment, when I read this book some time ago, I didn't land with me. I had to try again. That was a few years back, but now that I read this, and I don't really read this because I want to manifest something, it actually lands completely differently, and I really like it. Oops. Right, so I was talking about these 3 steps. So the first step was that you ask, you have a desire, you accept it, it is for you. This is something that is just born for you, from your experience. Really, you don't choose what you want. We don't choose, right? So the second step is the universe answers. The second step is not your job, okay? So step 2 is a simple step for you, for it is not your work at all. Step 2 is the work of the non-physical, the work of the God force. All things that you ask for, large and small, are immediately understood and fully offered without exception. Neville Goddard calls it the creation is finished, and many other teachers always say as well that everything is here at the same time. It's just that you don't perceive it for many different reasons, right? So every point of consciousness has the right and the ability to ask, and all points of consciousness are honored and responded to immediately. When you ask, it is given every time. And yeah, so the way I look at this is that, we have those subconscious beliefs and just, how we perceive the world based on our experience. So if everything is here right now, like the only thing, like quantum physics already kind of hints that everything, there is something like superposition, right? That what is it, quark or a photon or whatever, the small particle thingy. It can be in many places at the same time, and you don't know, like there's this Schrodinger's cat, state of the cat is it's both alive and dead until you check the box in which the cat is, you know, to see if it ate the poison. So, because everything happens at the same time, it's just that you cannot see everything at the same time because your senses limit that. You can only see what your senses perceive and what your brain interprets. But what does, like, what is the filter or the I don't know, blueprint that your brain has is in your subconscious. It's what your subconscious sees as normal for you. That's what it's going to expect. Like, it's not really like we think we see things 100%, but when you're focused on something and things happen around you, you don't really see these things because you're so focused on this one thing. But these things happen, and it's because we only just focus, like we perceive the thing that, you know, we can, how to explain this, yeah, so in quantum physics they say that you know, there's this observer effect, right? Like something might be happening until someone starts observing it, and then particles start to behave completely differently, and they don't know why that happens. And also they don't know why, for example, I have this book that appears to me as solid, that is created from the same particles as my hand is created from the exact same particles. And another thing is that these particles are also spaced evenly the same, just like the space around me. Everything is made from, and it's mostly space. There are some particles, but it's mostly space. And yet, even though this is the same, and the space here is the same, and my hand is the same, somehow it doesn't go through, right? It stops on the book. Why is that? Scientists don't know. Nobody knows. I don't know. My simple answer is that my senses interpret these things like that for me. My touch, my eyesight, my smell, my hearing, my taste, right? So why did I start talking about this? I don't know, but I find it super fascinating, and it's something that we will never be able to prove because it's unprovable, really. But it's interesting that everything is here at the same time, right? So continuing with this step 2, your asking is sometimes spoken with your words, but more often it emanates from your vibrationally as a constant stream of personally honored preferences, each building on the next, and each one respected and answered. And that's fascinating too, that every time you ask something, which is not even really something that you do consciously, when you have a desire, it's just something that appears in your consciousness. It's like, you know what, I want that. And you know, even wanting to have a meal, it's a desire too. It just pops into your head, and then you're like, yeah, I would want that, that would be nice. Yeah. And you don't choose things. You don't choose when you want something. You don't choose, I don't know, if your dream is to be an artist, you don't choose to be an artist, because to be an artist is actually so difficult. And it's the process of creation of, like, for writers, for artists of any kind, is just such it sounds good on paper, you know, you have to do this, but the creation of it is really hard. It's really you want it to be done with. You want to be done with that thing as soon as possible, even though you wanted to do this all the time. Like all the people I know that are doing some creative work, everyone is very excited about having an idea, but seeing it finished and working on it, it's a test of character, and it's not enjoyable at all. It can be enjoyable, but not as long until, you know, it's finished. There's just 1,000 new ideas being born, and it's just really difficult to see your creation finished. So Every question is answered, every desire is given, every prayer is answered, every wish is granted. But the reason that many would argue with that truth, holding up examples of unfulfilled desires from their own life experiences, is because they have not yet understood and completed the very important step 3. For without the completion of this step, the existence of step 1 and step 2 could go unnoticed. And the step 3 is that you allow it. And that is always, of course, the most difficult part for everybody. And that's why, we try to understand manifestation, because it doesn't feel that straightforward, right? So step 3 is the application of the art of allowing. It is really the reason your guidance system exists. It is the step whereby you tune the vibrational frequency of your being to match the vibrational frequency of your desire, right? So it's super simple in concept. There is something you want, it is given, you have to align vibrationally with this desire, so that you can experience it. And that's what Neville Goddard talks about, how you have to impress your subconscious mind with your desire to make it feel familiar, using all your senses, make it visible in your imagination. It should be so vivid, like it's real. And then you don't even need this to be materialist anymore, because you already experienced it so many times in your imagination. So Abraham Hicks, in this book, says about something very similar, but they use, I don't know, it's Abraham Hicks, she's channeling someone. The idea is to vibrate on the same level as your desire, right? And she tells you to flip your thoughts, basically, into positive thoughts. But from this book, I understood that there's more nuance to that. That's, it gets lost on many people in the law of attraction community, in my opinion. And so she will tell you that you have to find a positive thought that matches with your desire, and just keep coming back to the good feeling thought until it materializes, because it's the law. It cannot not be materialized if you are matching it vibrationally. And I believe it's true. I believe that it's a very straightforward process. However, there is, like, your brain has this electromagnetic field. It vibrates, and when you have certain thoughts, it starts to vibrate, as your thoughts, but they don't last very long, do they? So you have to keep coming back to this good thought. However, it's not only your brain that vibrates, your entire being, which is also your body, vibrates as well. And your heart has its own electromagnetic field as well, that is actually much stronger than the one of your brains. It's because your heart's energy, electromagnetic field, is 5,000 times more powerful than the one of your brain. 5,000. And your heart's language are emotions, right? So when you think something positive, it will make you feel good too. It will create an emotion, but it's a new emotion. That's why you have to think these thoughts all the time. Remind yourself to recalibrate to the vibration of your desire. However, and most people have this situation, if you have some emotions trapped in your body still, because they weren't processed properly, because their energetic cycle wasn't completed, if your nervous system doesn't feel safe with the new things that you're claiming in, it's vibrating its own low vibration, and when you think positive thoughts, they kind of get overpowered by your body. So this is the problem. This is why most people who find about manifestation, it's really hard for them to manifest. It's because their body overpowers everything that they are trying to undo with the mind work. And it is also working. It's just, in my opinion, like from my experience and from, like, I'm also a coach. I help people with feeling good as well. And when people come to me, they want stuff. They are like 100% of these people are usually in survival mode, and they say that they want something, but they only want it, and they talk about it in terms of like not having it, because they want something because the place that they are in right now is just so unbearable. But this is focusing on the lack, and this is still living, in your head, trying to fix a problem that is actually in your body. And because, I very often give this example that your body is like a prism, and your divine consciousness, the source, is like this stream of light coming through this glass prism, and then your prism is this body, and then on the other side there should be coming out a beautiful rainbow, which is your dream reality, joy, happiness, fulfillment. But if your body is stuck if it's congested with emotion that has been there since your childhood, then sadly it's not, the rainbow is not coming through on the other side, so you have to unblock that. And thinking positive thoughts helps, but why not work on both fronts per se? You can do this mind work, you can do your techniques, you can do affirmations, positive thinking, whatever it is that you enjoy, but then also work with your body. Whenever something comes up, when you have like a thought that is just keeps haunting you, that you don't have something, that you have to have it, that I don't know, this is your last chance for love, that you have all these bills to pay but you don't have the money, like whatever it is that comes back to you all the time, all you have to do is to like listen to that and let the thought bring you to the emotion, and let the emotion bring you to the story, to this underlying belief that is assigned to that. Because when you were a child, you had like something happened, like I don't know, you were rejected, or children told your parents told you, oh, money doesn't grow on trees, when you wanted something so badly, and you assigned, this is when your conditioning was born, I don't know, was installed in you. This is when you, from that moment, you knew that it's hard to obtain money, and this belief has been brought with you to your adult life, and it stayed with you, but it didn't stay only here in your mind and in your subconscious. It stayed in your body and in your nervous system, because your subconscious mind, it's the same thing as your nervous system, but in this body. When you want to know what kind of limiting beliefs you have, or stuff like that, to kind of like change them, all you have to do is to like observe yourself, like when something that is undesirable happens in your life, and then you notice how you react, what comes up, how you feel, what stories come up, what is the trigger, what is the vulnerability that comes to the surface, and then you can tackle it. It cannot be hidden for long, because it comes up every time something happens. It wants to stay hidden, but it never does. And there is also this concept of fragmentation, that when you have some like a small trauma happening to you, and trauma is also, by the way, when you come to your parent and you say, oh, like, mom, I'm sad or something, or angry, and your parent will tell to you, go to your room and deal with that yourself, like when you have a problem and you are rejected or something, this is when your child self starts to learn that you have to deal with everything by yourself. And then, in this moment, this is small trauma. In this moment, there is like a split in consciousness, and then two personalities, two twin personalities are born, and one is the vulnerability and one is the protector. So the vulnerability, because it's so painful, it is pushed into the subconscious, and you don't know about this, that you have it. It could be a no-brainer for people around you, because maybe when you feel rejected from early childhood, maybe people that know you, like your friends, they know that you have it, and they will talk to each other like, hey, don't say this in front of him or her, because that's a very touchy subject for her. So it's a no-brainer for everybody else, but because it is in your subconscious, it's really difficult to have the awareness of it. But it cannot stay hidden for long, because it comes up every time a similar situation happens that triggers that emotion. And that other personality, that is the protector, it's what was created so that you feel safer in that situation, which could be, I don't know, you're independent, or you become a people pleaser or something like that, something that stands guard and just helps you survive that situation, that's always there for you. And the protector part of this personality is also something that we start to identify with. When you are talking about the traits that you have, you will be saying, I'm independent, I'm strong, I don't know, all of those qualities that sound really good, but they are only there because they were needed at some point. So, and whenever you have a situation that could be, it may not even look very similar, but the vulnerability will be triggered, and then it will come to the surface, and suddenly you start to feel, I don't know, maybe like you have some sort of inferiority complex or something, because children were laughing at you as a child or something. And when that gets triggered, you will start feeling really like badly, but maybe you don't understand why. But like case after case after case, you can understand more why this is happening and gain this awareness. This is why this self-observation and just gaining awareness about yourself is so key. And it's okay if it takes time. It's okay if it doesn't feel good for a while. It's because if you start feeling these things, as you start learning about manifestation, as you gain more awareness about yourself, and the old feelings that were there for so long start to come up to the surface, it is because you are ready now. You're no longer this child, you are an adult who has more capacity to deal with these things. Look, you are nature, your desires are nature, everything is nature just unfolding for you. So just allow it. And in this book they also say allow. And they say that I don't like that in this book they say stuff like, if it feels bad, then it's because it is it's bad. But no feeling is bad, really, because every feeling is trying to tell you something about your inner world. And when there was something happening to you as a child, the emotion that should just flow through us, it wasn't able, it got stopped, and just it started, it went into your body somewhere, until maybe right now you start to experience a lot of negative emotions, or something bad happens in your life, like a breakup, or you lose your job, or you have like some illness. This is all happening because there are emotions within you that were contained, but they cannot be contained any longer. So they kind of will outburst out. They have to be released. And it only happens because if it doesn't, something even worse is going to happen. So feeling bad things is not bad at all. This is just your old kind of triggers completing their cycle, if you approach it with acceptance and love, in curiosity, really. Because when you feel something like that, of course it doesn't feel good. It feels absolutely terrible. You are questioning everything about yourself. It's like, it feels like the floor is just collapsing from under your feet. Everything you knew about who you are, what you want, is kind of doesn't make sense anymore. And it is heavy stuff. But allow this, and trust yourself that the reason why it's happening for you right now is because now you have the capacity for that. It's only happening right now because if it didn't, something even worse would happen. It has to happen. It has to be released because you are so ready to go on to the next level, onto, I don't know, the higher timeline. But you cannot go there. The old parts of yourself, the old shadows, they cannot go with you. So that's why they are coming up now. And it's not breakdown, it's really breakthrough. Whenever there is like, this energy accumulates, there is like next level right here, okay, accumulates, and then it cannot be contained any longer, so it kind of just outbursts. And you have to trust that. You have to trust that this is happening exactly as it's supposed to happen, and you can do this. You do have the capacity for this right now. But of course, if you don't know how to feel your feelings, or you feel like this is coming and you need some tools, then please check out my course, Nervous System Expansion, where you get the tools how to actually feel your feelings, because nobody teaches us that. Manifestation community also doesn't teach us that. They mostly teach us to, flip your thoughts and think positive, and just go into your imagination. Those are the things that I most of the time heard, and I was rehearsing, going into my imagination like a crazy person. And it's not going to work until you allow yourself to feel. That's at least my experience, and that's an experience of people who worked with me and that helped them, because again, nobody teaches us that. But you are the God expressing itself through this human form. And if there is something that you want that appeared in your consciousness, it is for you. There is no way around it. It will be yours sooner or later, but all you have to do, like again, we were talking about these three simple steps, right? I mean, it always sounds really simple, but is that you ask, this is your job, you have a desire, you accept it. Second, it's not your job, it is given. It's always given, creation is finished. And then you align vibrationally. And what Abraham Hicks doesn't talk about, Neville Goddard talks about this a lot, and yet most of the people don't really focus on this at all, is who are you? Your true nature is awareness of being, this stillness, this presence, that if you take away your emotions, your perceptions, everything about you as a human in this body, what is left is awareness of being. And if you want to align vibrationally, like in this book they tell you have to align vibrationally with your desire, but you don't really have to think specific thoughts. All you have to do really is to align with who you really are. And if you don't have a meditation practice yet, I highly encourage you to do so. Neville Goddard was talking about the power of awareness as well. He wrote the entire book about this as well. And this is like the main thing that I think is really beautiful and unique in Neville Goddard's teachings, because he not only talks about practical way how to manifest things, but also how to go back to the true self. And I personally believe that we learn about manifestation because Our main goal in this life is to realize who we are and just live our life from this standpoint, and not to get too attached to what we want, but just kind of surrender to every moment, because life is just full of moments. And there was something like in this book as well, I wrote it down because it was so good, that success is about happy life, and happy life is just a string of happy moments. But most people do not allow the happy moments because they are so busy trying to get a happy life. And I was reading this, I was like, yep, that's what we do. But life is really just it happens moment to moment basis, and in every single moment we have a choice to choose that I can either be consumed by what's happening for me, the this lack of safety I'm feeling, the lack of what I really want, and so on, or I can approach this as an observer, that this is happening for me right now. What does it teach me about what does it want to teach me about me as this person, about life itself? Why am I so attached to that? And yeah, that also helps you trust and surrender a bit more, because everybody talks about detachment, surrender, but how do you get there? You cannot just do a couple of affirmations and visualize your dream life and then call it a day. It's not that simple. It can be if you have this natural chill about things, but the chill for me, it didn't come until I started feeling my feelings and really just approaching them with, that's what has to happen, I guess. Instead of being like, ooh, why am I feeling like this today? I did that and I was supposed to be positive, so why does this come up now? Instead of thinking like, oh, this person said this, or someone didn't respond to me, so I'm feeling this way. No, it doesn't happen because of anyone else around you. You're always the source of feelings. You're always the source of love as well, because you are the source. You are the divine consciousness experiencing this life through this human person. So if you really want to be in the place of surrender and trust, and ask and it is given, without you lifting a finger and such. I mean, not really, because very often you get inspiration to do certain things that lead you to the desire, right? But that's also the thing, like you are supposed to follow what feels good to you. In every single moment in your life, on moment-to-moment basis, you have a choice to choose something that feels better. It could be a thought, it could be just going for tea, whatever, having a nap, going outside, choosing something that feels good. You owe it to yourself. This is why you're here. You're here to live in joy. And if there are things that don't feel good, from my experience, because I can read a lot of books, but still, until I experience something that actually makes sense, this will be just theoretical knowledge. So partially of what I'm talking about on my channel is from the things I've learned, but it's heavily just experiential. I know from my experience that until I really allowed myself to feel, not panic about this, not making it into a story that is going to mess up my manifestations, nothing changed for me. Only when I really reconnected with the true self, also thanks to the meditation practice that I worked on really hard, and I was just on and off with meditation. So I was off meditation many times to know that it really makes a difference, that it makes a humongous difference for me, for my mind discipline, how I approach life, how I see myself, how I see everything happening, you know, and my capacity to surrender as well. So if you want to detach, go back to the true self, you know, approach everything you're feeling with curiosity and acceptance. And if you need some help with like how to feel, how to process your emotions, because emotions, they just need to complete the cycle, then they just leave you, and you probably have emotions stuck in your body still since, you know, childhood and so on. I do have a course, Nervous System Expansion for Manifesting. I teach you there somatic exercises that allow you to release the emotions from your body. And there are so many there, but you don't have to do everything all the time. You just choose the ones that feel the best for you, and you continue like that. So and then at some point when you already you know, released the most like heavy initial emotions, you don't really need any of these methods anymore. All you need to do is to trust that whatever you're feeling is really happening at the exact moment that it's supposed to, and it's going to you know, get released, and on to the next level you go, because that's really how it works. And it doesn't mean that you're never going to feel like nothing negative ever again. It's not really how it works, but you learn to just accept it and not resist it that much anymore, you know, because that's what, like, why waste our energy and our time on like trying to get rid of negative emotions, you know? There's not enough time in the day. And sometimes when we are just like all like joyful and happy and things are going really well, that's, you know, high vibration, and it's also a little bit exhausting. So at some point there will be time that it will drop down to like a bit lower vibrations. You will still have worse days, but treat them as days for rest, for recalibration, you know. So it's all really, how do I say, all of this makes sense when you accept, when you learn how to just feel without resistance. And even some sad moments can really turn into something positive, you know. You probably had a situation that you were like really feeling low, feeling blue, and then suddenly you're thinking, oh, I'm going to just maybe listen to some sad music. You turn on some sad music, and suddenly you're vibing, because it's actually quite enjoyable at that point, you know. So just remember that what you're feeling, if it's negative, like, we don't resist it because it's unpleasant. It's only unpleasant because we resist it. And when you allow yourself to feel, when you have the tools for feeling things properly, so that, you know, all the emotions can complete the cycle and just go away without bothering you, without creating, you know, the stories, limiting beliefs that live in your body, then you are not so scared anymore that it's going to like mess up your manifestations. Right. I've been talking for an hour here now. I need a rest, but I would like to make these lives into something regular, so like every week at the same time, and hopefully then we get to hang out, and I don't only talk to myself, but we have some actual you know, dialogue in the chat and so on. That would be lovely. I would really love that. That's really all I ever wanted. To just have people that are like-minded, because no, like, I cannot talk to anybody about this in my real life. Oh, hi Petros, I didn't know you're there. Thank you so much for being here. And I'll be here next week at the same time, and maybe we'll talk about something different from this book again, or maybe, I don't know, we'll come up with something. But usually I just like to talk about the things that I've seen the most lately, or something that just came to my mind, that as this aha moment kind of situation, because we are all learning together, and yeah, we are all in this together. So all right, thank you so much, and have a lovely rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye bye.